for Wednesday, April 27th, 2022. First item of business is the approval of the minutes of our last meeting held on March 30th, 2022. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Second, thank you, Denise. Any changes, additions, subtractions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's approved. We'll move on to committee reports, and I'll kick it off with the Board Operations Committee that was held on April 13th. We reviewed the committee agenda items for the meetings held in April and for today's board meeting. Peter Wall was appointed to chair the nomination committee. He will be delivering his report today as well. We heard from Lisa Morello reporting on the state budget, which provides a historic increase in operating assistance for transit systems across New York State. On average, upstate systems will see a 17% increase in operating assistance. CDTA will receive a 25% increase from $41 million last year to $51 million for the coming year, which includes a $4.3 million allocation for our expansion into Montgomery County. We were able to achieve 80% of our ask for the Montgomery County service, so that's a good win for us. We thank our local delegation, the governor, and the legislative leaders for the assistance to CDTA. With expanding services come the need for more employees. Staff is emphasizing retention efforts, and we received a report on attendance incentives that will be rolled out in the next few weeks. It will encourage employees to strive for excellent attendance and be able to acquire a weekly bonus instead of quarterly. More on this to come. And finally, we discussed having further board discussions on some big topics such as the Warren County expansion, more BRT service, the intermodal centers in the region. A standalone meeting will be scheduled in the future for members to discuss these items. The next committee meeting is scheduled for May 11th, 9:15 a.m. here at 85 Waterville Avenue and via Microsoft Teams. Anybody have any questions about that meeting? Great, then we'll move on to the next committee report by Denise Figueroa for the Performance Monitoring and Audit Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 4 items for approval today. The committee met at noon on April 20th, right here at 85 Waterville Avenue. And the first item is approval of a contract for purchase of paratransit buses. This is our annual order for paratransit vehicles. It is part of our fleet replacement program, and it's part of a 5-year contract to purchase these vehicles from Shepherd Brothers. Staff recommends the purchase of 6 vehicles for STAR. It includes an upgraded wheelchair lift, cameras, and an air purification system. Delivery is expected February of 2023. And so we need a motion to approve the purchase of 6 vehicles from Shepherd Brothers Incorporated, Canandaigua, New York, for a total price of $528,000.
Can I get a motion to approve this resolution? Thank you, Joe. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Denise. Any questions, comments?
I'd just like to say that we discussed green vehicles in Lance, you're here, right? Mm-hmm. And they're just not quite online yet for what we need. Is that, I think that was your comment.
Yeah, Joe, that was.
Thanks. Okay. Anything else from anyone? All those in favor of resolution 17, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The resolution is approved.
Okay, our next item is approval of a contract for purchase of antifreeze. Our contract for antifreeze has expired and a new contract is required. An IFB was issued and a single bid was received from the incumbent Solvents and Petroleum. There is a 50% price increase because Cummins, our engine manufacturer, requires a certain type of product in order to ensure the engine warranty. And so we had a lengthy discussion about this at the committee meeting, but really don't have another option. So we need a motion to award a one-year contract with renewal, with a one-year renewal to Solvents and Petroleum Services of Syracuse for an estimated total of $210,000.
Who would like to move the antifreeze resolution? Mike, second. Thank you, Jackie. Any questions about antifreeze? Who can be against antifreeze?
Yeah, well, we talked about this one too, and I think Joe brought up that, you know, you're seeing the same thing with your truck and your cars. You know, if you want to keep the warranty, you're gonna put a certain product, whether it be antifreeze or engine oil or other fluids. So if you don't like it, it increases that price, but really not much we can do about it.
Do we keep a tanker online? Is that how you do it? Lance?
We have tanks at each location, Schenectady, Albany, or in Troy. And then we have a vehicle come in and fill it up when needed.
And that's all checked when they come through to get washed and stuff, I would imagine?
Correct. And then when they're in to get service, they get checked as well, and then on PMIs as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All those in favor of resolution 18 on the purchase of antifreeze, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution is approved.
Okay, I'll move along. Next item is approval of our procurement manual. The staff provided the committee with a report on the annual review of the procurement manual, and minor changes were made. Those changes, of course, have been included in your packet. Everybody's received the procurement manual. So we need a motion to approve revisions to the procurement manual at this time.
Can I get a motion to approve the procurement manual? Dave, second by Jackie. Any questions? For the record, I did review and read the entire procurement manual, Carr. Nice work.
Stacy, nice work.
Yeah, that's right.
Not much to do with that.
Right. It's become part of an annual thing here. Review that one. Questions about it? It's a requirement of the organization and the authority's budget office. All those in favor of resolution 19 to approve the procurement manual, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution is approved.
Okay, and next, under the investment committee, the public authorities law requires an annual review of our investment policy as well. So our policy explains how we invest, monitor, and report on funds. There were no recommended changes to the policy. It was reviewed by general counsel and our investment manager. And there were no recommended changes to the policy this year. So we do need a motion, though, to approve the 2022 investment policy.
Can I get a motion to approve the annual investment policy?
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. Second by Denise. Questions, comments? Another housekeeping issue here today. All those in favor of the investment policy, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That's approved. Keep going, Denise.
Okay, our administrative discussion items, monthly management report was provided by Mike Collins. Our revenue highlights include a record-breaking year for mortgage recording tax. We exceeded budget expectations by $6.2 million. Customer revenues surpassed budget by 66%, and our Rensselaer Rail Station surpassed the budget by more than $1 million. On the expense side, health benefits were under budget by 5%. Professional services were under budget by 13%. Wages were over budget by 1%, but given the manpower challenges, that was we did pretty well this year. So we finished the year very strong with revenue 13% over budget, expenses and over budget, and expenses at 0.5% under budget. Any questions on the monthly management report for Mike or anybody else? Gorm?
You have to
And
pinch,
statements
you have to
are right, I
pinch
know.
yourself.
Exactly, we'll never see another MRT like that,
Not like
at least not for a long time. Yeah. So with, there are no other questions on that, then I'll move on to the monthly non-financial report, which was provided by Chris Desney. We finished the year with 11.6 million rides, a 17% increase from last year, and a 75%, and at 75% of pre-pandemic levels. Star ridership was up 45% from last year and has reached 90% of pre-pandemic levels. Our fixed route on-time performance was 78% and Star on-time performance was 75%. We finished the year with 4,472 missed trips. Total missed trips have been declining for the last few months, but obviously it's a lot due to personnel issues. We had 47 more preventable accidents this year, along with a decrease of 17 non-preventable accidents. Staff will provide a report on this in June, going into further detail. Star calls, applications, and complaints have been increasing. We're looking at internal measurements and the results of the more surveys to get a better picture of the service quality. And I don't remember what more stands for, so obviously we're conducting surveys, so.
You're gonna test
Sorry,
me on
I
that
gotta
one.
test you on
That's
that.
our onboard customer survey, and
Yep.
Jackie will, we had a report on that the
Okay.
next day.
Excellent. Okay, so our next meeting of the committee is scheduled for noon on May 18th at 85 Watervliet Avenue and on Teams. That concludes my report.
Very good, thank you, Denise. We'll move on to the next committee report, Community and Stakeholder Relations Committee, Jackie Filipico.
Thank you. The Community and Stakeholder Relations Committee met on April 21st at 11:15 a.m. The staff provided updates on the CDTA Health Center, the STAR customer survey, and the monthly communications and community engagement report. First on our administrative discussion items was the CDTA Health Center. Kelly Schreivogel presented on the CDTA Health Center. She updated the committee on the activity at the health center over the last 6 months. The health center is a collaboration between CDTA and CDPHP. It is located at the CDTA headquarters in Albany and is staffed by a nurse practitioner 5 days a week, who we met. Her name is Jocelyn. She seemed very lovely and very knowledgeable. All employees can access the center for both personal and professional medical assistance. Over the last 6 months, there have been 568 total visits by employees, 175 19A physicals, which include pre-employment screenings, recertifications, and return to work physicals, 110 COVID tests performed, 82 COVID vaccinations administered, and 47 walk-ins. All in all, very busy. The second administrative discussion item, John Scherzer summarized the recent STAR customer survey. Our survey consultant, TransPro, talked to nearly 400 STAR customers earlier this year to gather feedback on service. The survey looked at demographics, travel purpose, reservation process, customer service, and payment methods. Overall, customer satisfaction increased 22% from the previous survey. When it comes to STAR service, customers said they were most satisfied with vehicle safety, service availability, and vehicle cleanliness. Last on the agenda was the monthly media relations community engagement report by Jamie Caslow. CDTA earned 20 media placements in television, newspaper, and radio. Stories focused on the state budget and advocacy, planned service expansion into Montgomery County, and the announcement of our new universal access partnership with Schenectady County. Jamie outlined upcoming events, which include the formal announcement of service expansion into Montgomery County, the start of CDPHP Cycle Season 6, and the recent announcement with Senator Chuck Schumer about the Gateway Mobility Hub in Schenectady. The next meeting of the committee will be held on Thursday, May 19th at 11:15 a.m. via Microsoft Teams and at 85 Watervliet Avenue. Does anyone have any questions?
More, thanks to our staff, thanks to John Scherzer. And for monthly onboard ridership evaluation.
Thank you.
Okay.
Which will probably be changing, because we'll probably be going to quarterly, but we'll come up with a new name, CORE. CORE. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Jackie. We'll move on to the next committee report, Strategic and Operational Planning Committee, Mike Rochon.
All right, the committee met last Thursday, and I want to thank Jamie for chairing that during my absence here at 85 Waterville Ave and via Microsoft Teams. There was one administrative discussion item, the route performance report. Ross Farrell gave the September 21 to February 22 route performance report. The RPR provides operating results for key measures, a description of recent service changes, and a look at recommendations for the coming year. It guides our planning activities and helps us allocate our resources as efficiently as possible. Our ridership is still down 30% from 2 years ago, but up 26% from last year. Recovery is better than the national average. Bus rapid transit is increasing as a share of overall CDTA ridership, and the number of universal access contracts have also increased. We are starting to see more normal ridership patterns settling in. The committee reviewed productivity through a couple of different lenses, including riders and hours and total ridership. It is important to understand that while ridership remains a critical measure, it is important to understand how it related to the amount of service we are providing to produce that ridership. New UA contracts include the Schenectady School District and New York State OGS, while just 5 of our contracts make up 75% of our UA ridership. At the end of February, the Blue Line averaged 3,000 weekly rides. To improve productivity, we will be looking to tighten running times and frequencies this summer. In fiscal year 2023, we will be launching our Montgomery County expansion to include 3 neighborhood routes and 1 commuter route. It will focus on connecting Amsterdam neighborhoods to surrounding retail and job centers. We will also look at school district restructurings, county by county restructurings, progress the Purple Line, and update the transit development plan. The next meeting of the committee will be May 19th here at 85 Waterville Ave and via Microsoft Teams, and that concludes my report unless there's other comments or questions.
Yeah, are we picking up the people downtown and bringing them out to Route 30? Is that the idea?
No, what, downtown Amsterdam?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know yet, right? The routes are designed to circulate the neighborhoods. The neighborhood along Route 30, which runs north-south, is one of the neighborhoods. So, to be determined where everyone ends up going. We'd like to tell you that we know exactly what we're doing, but we're entering a little bit in the, somewhat in the land of the unknown for us. We have no experience whatsoever. The transit system that was there was hardly a system, so there's no experience to glean. We think we're in the right places at the right times, but we'll see.
Thank you.
Anybody have any other questions about the committee meeting last week? Thank you, Mike, for the report. We'll move on to the nominating committee report. Pete Wall.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank, first of all, just start off by thanking you, Jamie, and Carm and others who at least had the confidence in me to tap me for this, and what a pleasure it is to be serving in this position. It's my first official position that I've had since I've joined this board, and as many of you know, I'm engaged in a major merger right now, so my days are busy, and this allows me to not only just be active on a monthly and an interim basis, but to remain active throughout. So I appreciate the acknowledgement and gladly accepted the position. I'm here though to forward a slate of officers to lead the CDTA board for the fiscal year 2022 and 2023, and I'll list the nominees, the slate of officers, and then Jamie, I guess, how you want to take the vote, that just let me know. But a chairperson would be Jamie Lahutt, vice chair Mike Rishon, secretary Joe Sperana, and treasurer Georgie Nugent.
Thank you, Peter. Thanks for your work on this and the other members of the committee. I think we'll just proceed as a slate unless somebody wants to add another name into nomination. So I'll take a motion to approve the slate of officers.
So moved.
Thank you, Denise. A second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Dave. Sorry,
Sorry.
he beat you.
I'm like, I'm ready for something.
He's quick. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the slate of officers, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thanks to everybody.
Double your bet.
Everybody puts in quality time and services into CDTA. We will be handing out the list of committees. There are no changes in the committees, but we'll send out an updated list so everyone has that. We'll just kind of keep going with what we've been doing. With that, we'll move on to the CEO report. Connor.
Thanks, Jamie. I was told that I don't speak loud enough, so I will try to turn up the volume so that everybody can hear me and whatever it is I have to say. Some of it is actually true. Some of it is exaggeration. And then there's a couple of quips in there if you kind of pay real close attention. We talked a lot about advocacy and outreach. We slowed a little, thankfully, in the last couple of weeks with the passage of the state budget. But by any measure, our success this year was unparalleled. 25% increase in operating assistance. That comes about because of partnerships, and we talk about this all the time, about partnerships and relationships. Really, we had the whole NIPTA team working on this. And at home, Lisa Morello doing what Lisa does best, keeping her nose focused on the CDTA need. And the CDTA need this year was Montgomery County. And as Jamie said, 80% of what we asked for, we got. And I think I've talked about this a lot. How we relate to the association here. We're one of the few systems that was able to almost fully fund an expansion with state operating assistance. And really, I took the charge of the board to heart, and Lisa did. Lisa Morello probably did more so than I, which is, we were not going to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. And what we mean by that is we're not going to jeopardize service in Troy or Cohoes or wherever it might be in order to provide service in Montgomery County. So I think we have a solid financial structure from which to move forward. As I said earlier, it is different for us. We're building partnerships and relationships from scratch. It would have been nice if there was a system that we could sort of follow and take our cues from, but there really wasn't. So I think our route structure that we're going to provide, the neighborhood routes, it covers most of the city and gets out 5S with a lot of job locations. And then the express route really is a combination of something old and something new. That looks like it will do well. But if you thought there were a lineup of speakers Monday in Schenectady, wait till you see the lineup of speakers this Monday in Montgomery County. We did get a lot of help, but I don't know if everybody who's going to speak really helped, but it doesn't matter. If they didn't help, they were there in spirit to help us. Jamie Caslow has this all ready to go. Hopefully we'll hear from the school district. Well, they're a huge partner here already from the get-go. We have a relationship with the school district, and you'll see that the neighborhoods, 2 of the neighborhood routes, just happen to go by Amsterdam High School. Amsterdam High School will also be a layover for us, providing an immediate location for our operators to access a restroom and maybe a light snack and a place to get off the bus. That's been an issue for us in some places throughout the district where there isn't a place for drivers, a convenient place. So we built that right into the system thanks to our partnership. So we're very, very confident that our work with our legislative delegation and way beyond our legislative delegation, we had countless meetings. I mean, I met assembly people and senators who I've never met before, really to talk about the need for operating assistance. So 25% is just knocking it out of the park in my book. So lots of great work by lots of people. So May 2, we're in Amsterdam. That will be really our first official appearance in the city. It'll be interesting to see how we're received. At least the word on the street is they can't wait. We'll see, right? Proof will be in the pudding in September. It'll be a slow rise. No one here expects, immediate full buses, but we've kind of built in full buses by having our service to the school district. I mean, we know what the ridership is going to be almost from day one. So all good. While we're talking about media, it's always great to have Senator Schumer here, like the Energizer bunny for sure. Gets out of the big black Suburban and immediately knows everybody in the place, and had so many really nice things to say about CDTA and the work that we do. So it was great. But I want you to know that two people deserve a lot of credit here, Jamie LaHutt and Ray Gillen at Metroplex. The project doesn't happen without them. Without those two guys, that building is still standing, and we're trying to figure out how to reconstitute an old, dare I say, dilapidated building.
It was blighted, I think is the term.
So thanks for them for getting that part done, which makes the rest of it easy. It goes out to bid in the next couple of weeks. Keep your fingers crossed. This is where we just don't know what's going to happen. The project budget is give or take $5 million, but we have no idea what's going to happen when it hits the street. We're prepared for some budget creep, but we may have to reconvene and do some editing if the budget creep is more than we expect. Your area of expertise, I thought you had a question.
No, I'm trying to figure money and looking at the place and.
Well, everything we've done in the last, year has had, significant increase in cost, and anybody you talk to, that doesn't matter. I was talking to one of the contractors today and was putting the flooring down, and he was talking about the, increased cost of plastic, for example. I don't know how much plastic we're using in this job, but, it's pretty standard stuff, concrete, landscaping, that kind of stuff. There's been significant increases in costs there, so we'll see. We've talked a lot about human resources, and as we move into Montgomery County, we have a need for employees regardless of Montgomery County. But this is like something I've not seen this in my 40 years here. I've not seen us struggle to get people in the door. And then that's almost the easy part, if there is such a thing. Keeping them here is just difficult, and our issues are no different than all of your issues. We're working closely with the ATU. Zach Stever is here. Zach knows our issues inside and out. We talk about them. There's no surprises. He shares the same concerns that we have, as was reported in the committee reports. We're going to try new ways to retain people, new incentive programs. Keeping our fingers crossed because we just don't know. Down with the transportation guys yesterday, and they were telling me a story about a woman bus operator, relatively new, who was working weekends on an unassigned. So every Sunday or Saturday and Sunday, she would work something different. She called in on Saturday and said, what am I slated for on Sunday? They told her. They haven't heard from her since. Guess she didn't like what she was scheduled for on Sunday. But no return phone call, no letter, no text, email. That's what we deal with now. Just never didn't come in for Sunday and hasn't been heard from since. It's the new reality. So we're struggling with that like everyone else. But we'll leave no stone unturned. Just because everyone else is struggling with it, some of the staff here are probably sick of hearing me say this. That's unacceptable to me to accept that as normal. I expect that if we're what Senator Schumer says we are, we'll find whatever the solution is.
I think there's a great hunger out in the Amsterdam area for work.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
We're going to find out. Yeah, we're going to find out. Monday, if not before Monday, as soon as the media event's over, there will be a blitz of CDTA information, so they'll know we're there. They will see us, they will know of us. We have an office space that we're leasing. HR and others will occupy the office space. We are also leasing space in Amsterdam to house our buses and have a report place for operators. So there'll be no secret regarding CDTA in the next several weeks. So there'll be no excuse if people have this thirst to work here. We'll take them from Montgomery County, we'll take them from Schenectady County, we'll take them for Saratoga County.
I think it's great to have an HR presence.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, film at 11, but the journey begins. COVID, it doesn't want to go away. We've had a little uptick in cases, as has been seen throughout the region. We have 15 cases in April. I mean, in and of itself, that's not a big number, given some of the things we've dealt with. But it's kind of risen to above a nuisance. Whatever one level above a nuisance is, that's where it is right now. It's also now starting to drive absenteeism again. That's the problem. Not been a good week for us. Monday and Tuesday were not good days. Today's a little bit better. But our absenteeism now has got that sort of COVID cloud over it. Hopefully, as the weather even gets a little bit nicer and more people are outside more, that subsides. But a lot of people are struggling with it right now. Everyone seems to get sick and recover real quick, but they're still out of work for 5 or 6 or 7 days. Warm weather, I think we've kind of knocked that one out of the park. Cycle will return shortly. Scooters are ready to go. The car program, I mean, it's, the senator, first thing the senator asked me, what's that? To the little blue car. Explained it to him, and remarkably, he had been briefed, so I didn't have to say much. He knew exactly what it was. He asked about federal money. I kind of tap danced. He said, "I'll take credit for that too." I mean, the guy's not bashful. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. The numbers that he threw around, that he has delivered in the last 2 years, were mind-boggling. We didn't go back and fact check. Doesn't matter. Construction is just about done in our Albany garage. If you haven't seen it, we'll have an event where we can show it off. As you recall, we've expanded the garage to the west to accommodate articulated buses and other buses in the fleet. But most importantly, we've expanded to the south. Well, actually, we made use of existing space and now have 3 bays that are exclusively used for repair of our buses. As you recall, I think you recall, we used to use temporary lifts. Not good long term. So the maintenance department is really pleased with it. Now, while we were there, we redid the foreman's area and lots of other features. But most importantly, we upgraded our bus washing, 2 bus washers. And since I'm also staff historian, I went back and looked. I don't think we've replaced the bus wash in Albany in more than 25 years. So already we're seeing, a better product, cleaner vehicles, and quicker, easier to do. Obviously, if you haven't replaced a wash in 25 years, you would expect that. But great work by everybody, juggling lots of construction in a work zone. We never closed the garage, we just juggled. We never closed, the bus washers, we just juggled. The great carpet and refurbishing project at 110, our collective space is ongoing. If you want to chuckle, stop in, take a look at the boardroom right now. I share it with all the finance people. I think they're getting used to me. I'm not sure. They haven't thrown me out yet. But the boardroom is basically is home to about 8 people, maybe more in some days. So all I ask is that they keep the pathway to the sink and the coffee maker clear. They've so far pretty good at that. But we're just about done. So half the building, the south part of the second floor, is almost done. Actually, the hallways have laminate, and then all the offices have carpeting. We've learned our lesson. It's not a continuous carpet; it's carpet squares. So someone spills coffee or pick up the square, put the square down, hopefully. So while we're there, everything is being repainted and cleaned, and ceiling tiles are being replaced, and And then once that's done, we'll move everybody back, move everyone out of my area, Amanda's area, Chris's area, out of the boardroom. I'll do the same thing there, and hopefully we miss one more set of meetings and then we're back. Hopefully.
Was that Patricia's welcome to her new position?
Yeah, that's one of Trish's welcomes. Her people are all my neighbors, which is probably making her life miserable because they're saying, why do I have to sit next to him? Trish is handling it pretty well. Trish and Jeanette. You know that Trish is the director of finance. She was promoted over the last several weeks here with the Phil Perella transition. I believe Phil has started in Virginia. I haven't texted. I may text him today and ask him how the weather is. But just lastly on the job, we have refurbished the old bullpen at the rail station, and the call center has moved to the rail station. We'll now start to refurbish, that's right next door here. We'll refurbish that area, which needs a refurbishment. And then we'll move more people around to free up some space at 110, which is, even with this temporary stuff, incredibly crowded.
Is Brinkley a permanent move?
That's a permanent move. Well, as far as, I don't know if anything's permanent anymore, but as permanent can get.
Good to use the space.
It is. We've kind of lost our way a little bit there with a presence. I remember Steve Bland telling me, Carm, you're going to go over there. And I said, why? And he said, because it's our building and we should have people there and we should have a presence there. I think Steve was right, and we're sort of taking a page out of his playbook and doing that. But if all goes well, by the fall, you'll see some of this settle down. But all in all, it's been a great stretch. One or two more events. We're taxing Jamie's ability. I was talking to someone this morning, another organization, about that. And, most people think these events just happen. You've got to be close to it to understand it takes a lot of work. You do know, I hope I sent you a note, that Emily DeVito will join us and give Jamie and Vanessa, who really is sort of acting deputy, and learning a lot in that job, but give them a real boost. I think you're going to see everything we do take another step up. Who's an accomplished professional, be able to walk in here and hit the ground running. So I don't know if I missed anything, but any questions? Been a great stretch for us. It's nice to show off the company.
I bring Vanessa in as my teacher now that I'm the secretary.
She can show you how to sign your name. Absolutely.
That's all I ask.
Well, this is your second go around in this.
Yeah, but I forgot everything. I'm old.
I know the feel.
Hey, Carm, I just wanted, if I could, second that the kudos you gave to Jamie and also to your level of energy. They may be, separate events, but if you are at all in tune with the news cycles, you're somewhat ubiquitous. You're on the stations. You're on one station. You're at you're at a building at some point. You're promoting a program at some point. So the program you have and the approach you're taking is very effective.
Thanks, Pete. I'm pretty good at following orders.
Actually, my neighbor said to me this morning, I hear you have a new public relations person.
Yeah, that's kind of gotten a little misconstrued. When you hire, I guess Emily is well known and a seasoned professional. I think some people thought that Jamie was moving on to something else. So no.
Well, the departures of the news stations have given a lot of coverage.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I was just at the United Way this morning, and Matt Hunter is joining them as communications manager. And frankly, we'll be honest, Jamie will tell you, a lot of the people that you see leaving were on our radar screen. It's sort of like buying a house, you better act quick.
So anyone have any other questions for Carm, or just general comments under the board comment section of the agenda?
Just one thing at the event yesterday over at area?
Schenectady.
Yes. Remember, I'm a Troy guy.
Right.
Just as Senator Schumer was talking about the rapid transit and the red line, the blue line, a red line bus happened to come off the arterial right by the event, so that was, for some reason, a trailways bus parked there.
Scheduling is everything.
He's been a great help, and I'm not sure we are where we are with BRT without him, to be honest. I mean, he lumped everything in on the credit side, but on the BRT stuff, I'm not sure we are. We wouldn't have got the first line built, and the second and third line come about because of the first line.
Well, every time we've been to visit him in Washington, I mean, he's really receptive and his staff is sharp.
That's great.
Yeah.
So he certainly has been our rabbi.
Mark, do you have something to interject?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Yep.
I have a couple of quick comments and then two questions. Number one, in terms of recruitment, bus operators are essential workers. It's my general view that essential workers in various sectors should be getting a bonus. So I just wanted to raise that if the extent that our budget permits, they're taking some risk even with the mask requirements of being in an enclosed space with a large number of strangers, and I believe their positive rates are higher than the general population. So I would like to suggest that, budget permitting. Second, I made this before. I didn't see the nature bus number 872 listed in the route evaluation. That's a seasonal bus. Right now it's running from late June to September. I would like to see it run for 6 months from May to October. I think people would like to get out to outlying parks through those months. I know the response at that point was that depends on the partners, but I just wanted to again recommend that. My two questions are there any plans for additional mobility hubs?
Yes, Mark, actually, we have a handful of them that we're looking at. I think we've given a presentation on this. I don't think it's anything that we haven't talked about. One is at St. Peter's Hospital at Manning and New Scotland. Another is in Troy. I don't recall the exact location. And then a third is at the sort of the intersection of Washington and Central. So where it splits, there's an area there that we would like to sort of convert to a mobility hub. In a perfect world, these probably aren't as big as what we're doing in Schenectady, a little smaller scale. But we have 3 or 4 locations that we're actively pursuing.
Okay, and the other question is, the budget we approved last time was based on, as I recall, a conservative projection of what would be in the state budget. I have the impression that we got a little more than a conservative projection. Are we going to have a revised budget based on the actual state revenue?
Yes, Mark, good pickup. I should have mentioned that in my comments. There's no real rush. It could be done, next month or the month after. But yes, it will require a budget revision because we did receive, from the conservative estimate, a significant bump up.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Mark. Any other comments from board members? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Our next meeting will be on May 25th. Thank you, Joe. Second by Jackie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
See you all in person soon.
Thank you all.
Aye.
Hey, Pete,
Over
hey,
committee.
Pete. Peter,